Good morning, everyone. I'm wearing a toque today. It's a little bit chilly in the house because we've gone down to a wind chill of minus 27 here in Rocky Mountain House.
Yikes.
All right. Let's go and grab charts here. And then the only other thing is, there we go. Now I got to share my screen. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is NextGen Merchants. We're doing market analysis for December 18th. You know what? I wanted to, before we get talking about too much into the markets we typically follow, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the United States Canadian dollar currency pair because we've had a very interesting development over the last week. If you remember, last week we were talking about how I think that the Canadian dollar is likely going to weaken against the US dollar. And so whenever we have this currency pair, US dollar against the Canadian dollar, and this goes up, that means that the dollar is weakening. It takes more Canadian dollars to make one US dollar. And so, you know, this channel was followed for quite some time. In fact, if we go back, this channel started in June of 2021 and it just zigzagged around, obviously had a good push here. You know, this was August of 2022. Major uptick on that where the dollar devalued quite a ways. And then it started to fall back into the channel here. But as you can see, it kept on bumping up against this high until this week. Sorry, no, it's a little bit longer than this week. This was October, middle of October. There was this big push, and finally, right here, the beginning of December 6th is when we finally broke out. Now, the rate at which it's right, it doesn't seem like much. Like, in fact, this little bit here is only 1.33%. Nothing. That's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the type of volatility that we see in crypto markets. However, it's important to note that this little tiny 1.33% has a long-term consequence on these fiat currencies that no one really pays attention to until it's too late. So this breakout on the US Canadian dollar currency pair, this is not a good sign. It means that Canada's economy is in the tank and it's likely going to continue for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up going to a previous high. And I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, we have a previous high here from October 2002 where it was $1.59 Canadian. And I don't think we're going to have a difficult time getting up to that point. I mean, take a look. There's no resistance between here and there other than these highs right there. So we might see a little bit of resistance at $1.46, but there's nothing holding it back from going all the way to $1.56. So just as a heads up, the Canadian economy is not looking good right now. Of course, the whole Freeland thing doesn't help either. But really, it's just that's just another part of the charade. So don't mind that too much. It's another distraction. All right, silver. Let's move up into a daily chart. Actually, go to the 2-hour chart so we can see more detail. Okay, right. So yeah, what's that?
Can't see the numbers still.
Oh, numbers.
There we go. I'm sorry. I like the numbers.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so silver. These are CFDs on silver. So these are contracts that are being sold on silver, but they are at the silver price. So just for clarity there. We can see that silver has certainly come back down, forming lower lows and lower highs over this last little while. This big push here that we had was while cryptos kind of went down. And that was because faith returned back into the metals for a while. But this dropped back down to this pivot zone here. This is indicative of further going down. That's on the silver. On gold, same idea. We've got a similar pattern: lower lows, lower highs, likely to continue. Again, my thinking is, if we go back to the daily chart, my thinking is that we're going to easily come back to this range here where we saw a lot of price action. This is in that 2350 range. And then beyond that, it's entirely possible that we would come back down to pre-2024 levels, which would be the $2,000 mark. Now that's a big drop. That's a really big drop. What is that? 30, 40%? That's a 30 to 23% drop. That would be that's pretty significant, especially for gold. But I don't see that being out of the question, simply because of how much faith is being poured back into the US economy right now. Let's take a look at that. US 30 having a little bit of a pullback here over the last couple of weeks. We've seen, is that right? Yep, since the start of December. Yep, December 3rd is when it started to drop. It's been consistently dropping every day. Every day it's been bearish. So don't expect to see anything else at this moment, because the next resistance, well, we're coming up. We're coming up to the next resistance right here. So this might provide some support before coming back up. But I do believe the Dow Jones will continue to go up. I think what this little bit here is a market correction, which happens all the time. But B, we also have a little bit of insecurity happening right now. There are UFOs in the sky. There's wars all over the place that are ramping up. Syria just fell. So there's a lot of insecurity in the market right now. There are a lot of things. I think the Matrix has been given the programming message that Biden is not out of the fight yet and wanting to just wreak havoc for his political opponent. Of course, again, it's all just a charade. But I think those are the types of things that contribute to the emotionality of the people. Crypto 30 still holding its own, not creating a new high yet, but once it does, oh baby, watch out. This is not going to be coming back to these levels anytime soon. So the Crypto 30, we had, over this last little while, we had this little rising wedge here. Let's go back to the 2-hour chart so we can see how that rising wedge broke out. With this rising wedge breaking out, this, I believe, is kind of like that last. We're not going to see the levels go below this. This was a great accumulation, and now we're great accumulation, and now we found support off of it, and this one here stayed higher. So right now, I think we're just in this consolidation. Might come back down to test this level before heading up. So be mindful of that. If that does occur, that just means good news for us. It means that more money is being loaded up into this bubble. Ethereum. Oh, you know what? I keep doing this, and I keep thinking, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do Bitcoin, but then it's just not here. Well, I'm going to just grab Bitcoin real quick here because we need it. There we go. I'm not sure why this left my watch list. Bitcoin creating new highs. Yippee-ki-yay. This was happened over the weekend. And Denise, you're back. Okay. So this happened over the weekend, creating a new high in Bitcoin. A little bit of a pullback coming back since then, but as you can see, it has already found support off of this previous all-time high. So right now, likely to continue moving up. Remember, Bitcoin always makes its moves first and then Ethereum. And we're kind of waiting for Ethereum right now when it comes to the AI coins, the infrastructure coins, real world assets, gaming. We're really waiting for Ethereum. Ethereum has been taking its sweet time. It did create a new high right here, which is great to see. but it's very slow progress. This is not moving the same way that Bitcoin has moved. However, if we go back in time, we can see how Ethereum always has trailed Bitcoin's movements. Bitcoin first gets the injection, and then Ethereum gets it about a week later. And this has been the recurring pattern, uh, basically every cycle, especially since 2017. And so Ethereum is just taking its sweet time. I mean, look how much further it has yet to go before it reaches an all-time high. From today's price, it's still got to go up 24%, 25%. Now, keep in mind, this is cryptos, so it can happen in a day. But I would say that what we're seeing right here, right now, is just a little consolidation. I would not be surprised if we come back to test these levels here around a 36.90 level. It's not outside of the realm of possibility, simply because once we get above that. I just have to plug in my phone here so it doesn't die while I'm working. What do I want to say about this? We are really waiting for this. Once it gets outside of this all-time high, once it breaks out of that, there's going to be no coming back. That's going to be where things are exciting, and we're checking our progress every 20 minutes because of how much money we'll be making. You'll look and you'll look at your thing and it'll say $1,000, and you'll be happy because it was at 800 yesterday, but then you'll look at it again 2 hours later and it'll be 2,000. That's the kind of thing that's going to occur. And so when that happens, we need to be ready because the exit strategy needs to be in play. So we're going to talk about exit strategy probably tomorrow or Friday as what to get ready, because you do not want to be scrambling, selling all of your profits and losing out on, because when this thing goes up and then it comes back down the other side, when it comes down the other side and pops that bubble, you're not going to have time to figure out what you're going to do with your money, right? So always make sure you know what you're going to do with your money before you execute your trade. Even within the last couple of months, a lot of the things that I've bought here, I've bought some impulse buys, but a lot of these things I bought when there was no awareness of the project at all, because I knew where the money was going to be. And so the same thing, we know that this bubble is going to pop. And so the exit strategy needs to be in play. So before we get up to this all-time high, it's a good idea to start planning. What does this need to look like for myself so that I reach my financial goals? And for me, it's gold. I'm going to be taking my crypto holdings and I'm going to be purchasing gold, because I believe, as I said before, that gold will go down as the faith in the dollar goes up. And the faith in the dollar is going to go up because everybody thinks that it's, Bitcoin saving the day with Trump. Well, Trump's saving the day with Bitcoin. So that's it. We're just waiting for Ethereum to catch up with the rest of the crypto sphere. That's all there is. That's all that's going on right now. ADA is, look at that. It's actually coming up to the end of the runway here on this pennant. I'm going to go ahead and do the daily chart so you can see what that shaped. So you can see on the daily chart here, we're just testing this trend line here. So we'll likely see this test today, tomorrow possibly even, but then we're going to have a breakout. This pattern here can't hold the price action much longer. In fact, looks to me like maybe one more day, 2 days at the outset, and then this pinches off and the price is going to go somewhere, likely up, simply because after reaching that all-time high that we had hit on December 3rd, we did have a pullback of 30%, which is more than enough for it to have the support necessary to go up higher. Solana, similar. Hello, Jennifer. I'm just going to add you in there. Awesome. All right. So Solana, similar type of pullback that we saw with Cardano. And in fact, the lows are getting lower. But if we zoom in a little bit here, get some more detail out of the 2-hour chart, you can see that we're actually in an expanding wedge, an expanding falling wedge. Highs are getting a little bit higher. They're definitely not really breaking out of this resistance, but the lows are definitely getting lower. So watch for this. Right now, I would say this is like, honestly, if you wanted to buy some Solana, now's a good time, because it's been a while since it was at the all-time high, and we can't expect that to come back. And that would be a nice quick 22% growth coming back to that all-time high, and then beyond. We're likely, yeah, we might still see greater test down to the $200 level, but we have enough points here. We have enough points at that level that we don't need to hit there again from a standpoint of supporting the price going up. Injective token also pulled back from this high that was here, and the pullback was enough. 30%, that's more than sufficient. Obviously, it came nice and deep into this long pivot zone here. This pivot zone has been, it's been providing a lot of price action in the past. So coming down into this is more than enough. We're probably just seeing this price equalize like a lot of the markets right now. Modic, same idea, but definitely coming up to the end of its pennant pattern. 3 protocol, still nice and low. But what's interesting is that now we can actually sign up for a Canadian account, and Canadians can now sign up for accounts. So they are expanding. As they expand, there's more utility, and of course, more utility comes.
What's the number on that?
Attention. 3 protocol is sitting at 6.3 cents right now.
Thank you.
Most welcome. In fact, the all-time low is not far back. It's only on December 10th. That's the all-time low right now, and that's only 9% away. So we are definitely in a very, very much a buyer's market right now on 3 protocol. I don't foresee a problem. I don't see any issues with this, simply because if we take a look at, oh, that's not coin market cap. We take a look at 3 protocol. This is a really tiny market cap, very, very small company. There's certainly risk to going into this, but what I like about it is just how saturated it is. It's not like it's a $5 million market cap with a $50 million fully diluted volume. No, this is a nice and saturated market. The people who are holding this money right here, they have enough to hold them through even a crash, right? Because it's the majority of this volume is eaten up with real money. So it is in a good position still. And so therefore it's still a good play. It's just going to be patient. And I think, again, we're going to see all of these really start to take off once Ethereum picks up its pants and actually gets to work like the rest of the ecosystem. But folks, Ethereum being a laggard is one of the reasons why less and less people are looking to Ethereum for a storehouse of value. They're, the only reason Ethereum exists really is because we have the capacity to invest in these other companies. But I believe what we're going to see within the next couple of cycles is Ethereum kind of becoming irrelevant because we don't need it. We don't need it anymore. And it's clunky, it's old, it's got problems. Transactions even fail, which blockchain, that's not supposed to happen at all. So, I foresee once Ethereum takes off, we'll see all these coins do their stuff, and we're going to be cashing out. And honestly, likely after that, I won't touch Ethereum again, ever, or any of the coins that are under them, because of all the problems that Ethereum has. Let's move on to Fetch. As you can see, a lot of the price patterns are very, very similar to each other, and it's just because this is the nature of this pullback. But I like Fetch because of the larger infrastructure that it is. So if we go into this one here, it's a 3.8 billion market cap with 4.29 billion fully diluted volume. great position. Obviously, we take a look at the whole chart. We can see that, we made it through here and had this nice big movement. This was at the beginning of this year, March, and now it's equalizing out. So we actually saw the big push for this earlier this year. Okay, so this one is in a absolutely stellar position, and if we take a look at how this price action has been, how it has been forming, this is great. Like, look at that price line; it's sitting right now at a very, very high. Like, there's a lot of action, high action location right now, and so we are at a pivot point, folks. This here, I'd be buying. I'd be buying, and I'd be buying all the way down to the trend line. Absolutely. That's for fetch. Moving on to desync, as we can see, also finding some support here. Probably going to hit this. Oh, actually, it already did. Look at that. So it already hit the same line that this found resistance here. And then we had this little pullback, bounced up above, and managed to stay above that line, going up to that all-time high. Since then, consolidating down, but looking to find support right here. If it drops down below this line here, this line is at the 32-cent mark. If it drops below that line, I'm definitely going to be loading up the truck to buy a whole bunch more. I've got a lot of Destra, but whenever it goes on sale, it's definitely a good time to buy. And so if it goes down below, it likely will come to test the 29-cent level, 30-cent level. That's where I'll be buying some more. And then incrementally, if it goes down further, I'll just keep on buying, because desync is proverbially the hardware store providing all of the tools necessary for the gold rush. Okay, so people are mining gold. They need to have a hardware store to get all the pickaxes and tools and everything that they need to mine. Well, this is the same thing that we're seeing here. This is probably the leading, one of the leading companies, and it's still small market cap. That's the other thing. Don't be thinking just because it's huge, just because it's got the great infrastructure, and I talk about how big it is not that big of a company. This is only mid market cap. So when this takes off, this will likely 10x in market capitulation, which then also brings that same type of action to the price. Hang on a second here. I gotta wipe my nose. It's chilly. All right. Moving on. 0 by 0. Another great AI projects focusing on privacy, data privacy. This one here hasn't reached its all-time high yet, that's to be expected. If we take a look at the longer time frame here, we can see in the big scope of things, we're actually doing very, very well, simply because, there we go. Simply because this area here of support, that is all we need. That's all we need right here to be able to take off from where we are. This support is great. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the money to come in. Good old Ethereum, basically, to be honest. IOS, this is another AI that is fairly new in the whole system. In fact, I think that's just from the last couple of years. Let's just go and double check here. Yeah, market cap's a little bit is nice and big. So this one's a bigger market cap than Destra, but it doesn't have the same type of history. Definitely not the same story. Destra is in a almost, I don't want to say a different realm, but in a sense it is a different realm in the sense of the opportunity that's ahead of it. IOS, still great opportunity and is still going to increase, but because of how much larger the market cap is, 1.27 billion versus the mid market cap that Destra is, we're not going to see the same level of the same degree of volatility. This movement here is likely this market here is likely only to 5 or 6x, but it's going to be providing a lot of infrastructure for other projects like the mid market caps and the low market caps with the startups and the new projects coming forward. And so they'll be building on the IOS network. So different, it's even though it's the same technology, even though it's in the same narrative, AI, storage, processing, it's not the same simply because of the size of the company. Now, Destra still is my favorite as far as when it comes to the returns that we'll likely be seeing. 0x0, same thing. IOS, though, is more bigger, robust. It's going to be a safer bet. There's not going to be as much risk going into IOS as there would be into 0x0 or desync, simply because of that market cap. Anyone, this is another one that I'm following, very, very short. It's a startup still. Very, very little market, very little price action to go off of yet. But again, small market cap, and it's doing very well because it's very diluted as well. Lots of saturation in the market, and we have this type of price action, which I like. It's not the big pump and dump type of price action that we see typically. It's been staying actually between, we've got lows here in the 65-cent range with highs only at the $2.20 range. So with this type of tighter price action, you've got a lot more stability coming in, finding a good entry point. But because of the lower market cap, when this bubble goes up, this will definitely experience more volatility. So there you have. Anyone, onwards to ARK. This one here has had actually quite a significant pullback from this high that was formed here. We haven't reached the all-time high yet, but as you can see, definitely a very prominent point of interest in the price. Like every time you see that price bounce off of this line, whether above or below, it's just another confirmation that that's a pivot point. So we are above that pivot point right now, looking like we're finding support any day, folks, any day. And this, again, I hate to say it, but we are kind of waiting for Ethereum to pick up its socks and get to work. And then it's just going to be pandemonium from there. Link, same thing. Look at how all of them are literally sitting on top of support right now. No one's ready for this. No one's ready for this. This is crazy. You guys are ready for it because you're tuning in with me, but I'm just looking around at some of the people in this trading ecosystem, and like they are so clueless. And then on top of being clueless, they don't even know what to do with their money once they make it. So yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody, and make sure you continue to do so that you know what to do. WorldCoin, a little bit different price pattern here. We don't have so much of a pull. I mean, yeah, it's pulled back from this all-time high, but as you can see, we've been just keeping on making higher highs and higher lows ever since the election. Oh, this is September. Ever since September, we just keep on making higher highs and higher lows. So a very different price pattern, but this is because this particular coin is it's in the gaming ecosystem. So this one is going to, it's not going to have the same type of price action that we see in AI, simply because AI is going to be leading this bubble. After the altcoins get their injection of liquidity, we're going to see the AI coins just skyrocket. These companies need to make their money back off of AI. They've lost a lot of money in 2023 and 2024, and they need to make it back. And so this bubble is there to bring that liquidity in for them. Once that's done, we're going to see gaming take off. That's going to be the next phase of the bubble. And then we're going to see another phase of real world assets where now people can actually get a small computer, get a $500 computer, $800 computer, put it in your house and actually provide computing power to this decentralized ecosystem. And now you've got a real world asset passively making money for you in your house. That's going to be the next phase of that bubble, where people are just all of a sudden, oh, I want to get into real world assets. Those are going to be the three phases to this whole thing. And right now, WorldCoin is just doing its thing because it's not the gaming bubble yet. Neural AI. This one here is another infrastructure coin for networking computers. The amount of networking that's going to be occurring over the next little while is going to be staggering, and it's going to be automated. We're not going to have to be running IT departments to the tune of $80,000 a year for us for a medium-sized business. You got a plumbing company that's running tech support for someone running tech support for a plumbing company is probably going to be invoicing $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and with the way that technology is advancing, that's going to be pointless pretty soon. It's probably going to cost $5,000 a year after when this is all said and done. And it's going to be because of things like neural AI, which is decentralizing the networks for AI so that there's less centralization and less control over the technology. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Beam. Well, and you know what? With Neural, with this new high here, and it's a newer project, it's in a great spot. Here, let's take a look at the mid-market cap, 136 million, great saturation, already at $13. If this thing takes off the way that other coins will likely take off, this will be easily $1 billion by the end of February. $1 billion by the end of February. Well, that's like an 8x from here. Okay, so Neural AI, very good one. I've recently added to my bag on this one. Beam finding support now, 3-cent mark, looking like it's going to be taking the next leap up, forming another new all-time high. Again, newer project, but it doesn't have a low market. It doesn't have that low of a market cap. Look at this. So this is like, look at how new this project is. It only just got started at the end of November of last year. So it's only been around just over a year and already at $1.5 billion market cap. This one here is a lot more of a secure start, like a lot more of a secure startup when it comes to investing. So this one here, likely, I mean, who knows? This could easily go into a $10 billion market cap. There's no question. Just because of the positioning that it's in, and of course, the amount of infrastructure that it's providing for the entire ecosystem. These guys are networked so well. PAL, after seeing this great big fall, things have been returning back very well. I've made back everything that I lost on the first trade and then some, up 115% from when it dropped. This is the type of thing we're going to see. We're going to see these types of drops all over the place, folks. And this is why it's important to have some money ready so you can take advantage of those opportunities the day that it occurs. Remember when this happened? It was just the day before, 2 days before, I loaded up some Ethereum just so that I had some ready for transaction fees, because that's how bad they are. You just got to put money in your Ethereum, not because you need Ethereum, but because you need transaction fees. So I went ahead and just did that. This price came down and it dropped 60%, 70% that day. And I was just like, oh, I guess that's why I got a bunch of Ethereum, so that I could buy some PAL more. And sure enough, I did. And now now I'm basically, I'm just below the first purchase point here. But this amount here that I bought more than paid for the amount that I've been waiting over here for. So very good. FAR. Gaming coin again. So this one's going to be later on. It's not going to be going crazy right away. This one here, I've got, I'm waiting for the big pump after the AI bubble is done. This one here, my target is $1. Well, if it goes up to $1, that's 108x from where we are today. This one here is going to be receiving a lot of funds from all the other gains that I get from altcoins and AI, simply because of the potential for this to grow. And FAR, smaller market cap. It's also on a smaller network as well. But we've got this room here. See this disparaging distance between the market cap and the fully diluted volume. This is what is to be expected. It's a newer project, only launched this year in January of this year, and it's just pacified itself out simply because there's no activity happening. This gaming coin here is going to go parabolic once we've got that injection of funds coming in and AI is starting to plug into these games where they're developing the environment of the game in real time without needing a single developer to program the environment. So that's what FAR is all about. IMX. We got some people here with IMX. Looks like, look at that. Found some support. I just love looking at these charts without tons and tons and tons and tons of graphics and lines and analytics going on. Even this doesn't have to be there. Just look at the chart naked and you can see there's their pivot point. Look at that. And it's just beautifully resting on top of that right now. So there we are, IMX ready to go, just like the rest of this whole market, folks. It just looks like the whole team is lined up on the football field and they're ready to say hup. And it's going to go wild. Once this play starts happening, it's going to be chaos all over the field. No one's going to know where anything is. But you and I are going to be looking down at the field from the blimp and seeing the whole picture. And everybody else is going to be scurrying around, tickling each other's balls, because this is what they do in football. Did I ever tell you that? Yeah, my daughter told me that one when she was 7 years old. She's watching football and she's just looking at the whole thing like quizzical. Why is everybody so attracted to this? And then she says, "Daddy, I figured it out." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "I figured out what football is all about." She said, "That guy right there," pointing at the quarterback, "that guy right there, he tickles that guy's bum and everybody else runs around trying to figure out who did it." That's football. Well, here we are. We are on the sidelines, or like I say, we're in the blimp looking down at the field and we're watching all of this unfold right now. And it really is going to turn into something is going to happen and it's going to set everything off and the whole field is going to go into pandemonium. None of the individual players are going to be able to see where they are in comparison to each other, but we're going to be sitting there just picking off all the profits the whole time. So that's what's going on. Super is not, I don't think it hit its all-time high. Yeah, no, it's not hit the all-time high. In fact, let's mark it so that we have that as a thing. Super is a community coin. This community is insane. Every time I go and check it out, I'm just like, what? These guys are not going to, they're not going to stop. When this goes over its all-time high, the whole gaming world is going to be turned upside down. And new standards will be made on what makes a good game simply because of Superverse and its engagement with the community that they have. All right, so here we have, this is Clearpool. This is a real world asset. So this is getting out of the gaming world now into the real world assets. Clearpool, this is going to be that infrastructure where people contribute their computing power in their homes to a decentralized network. So now all of the computers that are all around the world can contribute processing power for AI. And that's a very powerful real world asset that's going to be coming forward first. That's going to be the first one. I think that we're likely not going to see real world assets applied so much, not en masse anyways, at the local level. That's what we're going to be doing with the market. Just to give everybody a heads up, we're starting up a new farmers market in Drayton Valley, and we're going to be utilizing real world asset strategies in order to help secure that market to be in the private realm. Well, then there are tons of reasons why that's important. Things like Clearpool aren't going to be so much what we're after, but Clearpool is going to be setting a stage for real world assets that exist within people's computers. Well, we've got real world assets in virtually every area of our life. We've got Audrey here, who's an aromatherapist, and she's got a retreat center. So she can take real world asset strategies, apply them to her offerings, and now she can have that business occur outside of Canada, which means that there's no taxation and so on and so forth. On top of that, we've got Audrey Lynn, who goes out into the mountains to forage for mushrooms and pine barks and needles and so on and so forth, and she makes medicinal products. Well, those medicinal products all can be put into real world assets on chain so that now she's got those assets in her trust when she does business at the market. The money gets exchanged back and forth. Her trust is making money in that private realm. The real world asset bubble, the first one, is going to be just people going crazy about getting computers so that all of these infrastructure projects get taken care of by all of our decentralized computing. But that's just going to be another bubble. On the other side of that is going to crash, and all of the real world asset, everyone's going to panic. Everybody's going to think the world is ending. Lots of people are going to be committing suicide, just like they do in every other cycle. But this happens all the time, folks. This is just a great big merry-go-round we're on. We just find another bubble to do it with. So when that bubble pops and it drops down, we're going to see this here, crypto 30. I'll bet you we'll see it drop back down to like election levels, probably around here. It's going to go up. There's no question. You know, Bitcoin's probably going to go up to $200,000, but it's going to bounce right back down probably to about 100 to 90,000 when it's all said and done. All the growth that we receive, 90% of that growth will be wiped out at the other side of the bubble. But that's when the physical real world asset bubble will start to mount up. It's going to take a while. It's probably going to take another year. But the real world assets that the small businesses and local merchants that they're minting to the chain, that's going to be the real bubble. And that bubble is also going to set free the economic powerhouse that we are by nature. And now when we're self-governing the economics of our nation, now the government doesn't have the ability to weaponize the markets against us and weaponize inflation against us and so on and so forth. And that's what we're here for. Next generation merchants, we're not here for the bubble's great. We're going to make all kinds of money and all that stuff, but we're here for that long game where we're actually helping that small business, local merchant, the medium, the middle class, the medium small businesses, the economic powerhouses that actually make our communities function. That's who we're saving as the next generation of merchants. So moving onwards, I get passionate about that. Seed World, another gaming coin that I'm interested in. This one here as a rule. Yeah, so this is just way down here. I'm just going to get rid of this because we don't really need that. So here we have a very, very new project. Only started, we got no history before October 23rd, in fact. So this one, very, very new project. It is still being only measured in Ethereum simply because it's not on any major exchange. But I wanted to put it in here simply because of how much, again, this one is particularly for people that wish to have their computer provide real world assets, computing power for the gaming world. That's what Seed World is. So again, we're just going into more granular projects as we analyze these out. Sundog, my embarrassment here. This is the one that I did when I got excited at the high, and then it's dropped ever since. So this one here is just a losing game, but it's not out of the game yet. It's a losing game, but it's not out of the game. And so we're just going to keep on waiting. Bonk, this one here, got some support here, sitting at 4 zeros and a 3. And then NPC, my favorite meme coin right now, looks like it's just bouncing off of this support here. There's been tons of price action at this level, So, I'll say we'll find ourselves some support and we'll carry on from there. So there we have market analysis for today, Wednesday, December 18th. Thanks so much for tuning in. Everybody have a good rest day. I'm going to go offline. So hit that subscribe button. Give me some good old algorithmic love, and let's go get it. Thanks a lot, everybody.